I opened up a portal at the Hellfire Caves in West Wickham. Do you want to see what came through? I wanted to learn more about the notorious Hellfire Club. There are many scandalous rumours about it, but I wanted to see for myself if the rumours were true or just propaganda. I wondered if the rumours were formed just to protect the early members from the consequences of their own scandalous actions, or if perhaps the rumours hid a secret political agenda. Some described it as a form of religious mockery or dressing up, while others believed it was a secret society with a focus on sex magic. According to Horace Walpole, the members practiced pagan rituals and worshipped deities such as Daphne, Flora, Priapus, Venus and Dionysus. Instead of relying on what somebody else says, I decided to go and visit the place for myself, observe the esoteric symbols that are still there with my own well-researched eyes, and I also wanted to feel the energies that were there. Let's have a closer look at this mysterious place together. Hi, I'm Shé D'Montford of Magick Magazine. Some of you may know me as a TV psychic, but I'm also a shaman and a practicing magician. In fact, I'm the only psychic in the world that's ever been proven accurate by a coroner's inquest. I love presenting intelligent articles that debunk fears and myths about high energy places and people. And this place, the Hellfire Caves of West Wickham, is certainly beautiful and oh so peaceful. Many lovely families live there and they try to hide their scandalous caves. But more than anything, what I wanted to do was I wanted to help restore the dignity of the original members of the Hellfire Club and what they tried to achieve in this world. However, there is definitely something in there. This is definitely an area that has been used to invoke spirits by people who knew what they were doing. And the echoes of these spirits and these choices remain in this place. You don't have to be a psychic to sense this. It is tangible in the air in the Hellfire Caves. The problem is that most untrained people sense these spirits and they get scared because all they have is Hollywood propaganda to relate these sensations to. But I found there was absolutely nothing malevolent there. Nothing to be scared of there at all. Quite the contrary. If you understand what's happening there, the energies can be very empowering.
Ang popeth am nesi. Rwy'n hiraethu am adrau, roedd eisiau yno. Rwy'n hiraethu am adrau, rwy eisiau dyno.
The caves in West Wickham house the original Hellfire Club. They were built by Sir Francis Dashwood to be the hidden meeting place of a secret society called the Order of the Friars of St. Francis of Wickham. Contrary to popular opinion, Sir Francis Dashwood was not the founder of the Hellfire Club. He simply was a member. The club was actually founded in London in 1719 by Philip, Duke of Wharton. There were many chapters across the United Kingdom and quite a few in the United States. Some chapters of the Hellfire Club continue to exist today through universities throughout Europe and the United States. The West Wickham chapter of the membership included many famous men, nobility, politicians, artists and poets. Dashwood himself was the Chancellor of the Exchequer and a member of the House of Lords, with the title of Baron de la Despencer. Other members included the Marquis de Sade, who was later expelled, John Montague, the Earl of Sandwich, who sponsored Captain Cook's voyages to track the transition of Venus across the Sun, during which he discovered Antarctica, Australia, New Zealand and Hawaii, as well as William Hogarth, Paul Whitehead, John Wilkes and even Benjamin Franklin.
Well. Fancy running into Sir Francis and that great American friend of his, Benjamin Franklin. Franklin often stayed at West Wickham and visited the caves in 1772. He wrote afterwards to a friend, Mr. Dacour, in Philadelphia.
The exquisite sense of classical design, charmingly reproduced by Sir Francis Dashwood at West Wickham, whimsical and puzzling as it sometimes may be in its imagery, is as much evident below the earth as it is above it. I must admit, you have some exceeding odd ideas, Francis. Fancy putting the golden ball on top of the church. John Wilkes tells me that it is the best globe tavern ever.
Not at all, my dear doctor. You should see the splendid buildings in Venice with their golden domes. And there are few cities to equal St. Petersburg, which has the best golden onions I have ever seen. The Kremlin in Moscow is full of them too. I wanted the church to present a great prospect, not the gloomy old ruin it used to be. You must climb into my golden ball and see the view. On a fine day you can see as far as Camberley, where John Norris has built a similar tower with a golden ball. We've exchanged signals from our golden balls using mirrors to deflect the rays of the sun.
What a capital notion! I have heard of heliographic lighting in the tunnels of the pyramids, but not of overland signaling. You certainly have some novel ideas.
You can still climb up the tower when it is open and see the magnificent view, but the golden ball, which seats 6 people, has had to be closed because of damage by vandals.
As we progress further into the cave, we find the mysterious 22-step alcove. From the inscription of a mysterious 22, if you take 22 steps, there is an alcove that does appear to have been a hidden passage, possibly an escape passage should the church invade the catacombs. Dashwood left this beautiful poem that also refers to how love can set you free, referring to the 22 steps. Take 20 steps and rest a while, then take a pick and find a stile. Where once I did my love beguile, 'twas 22 in Dashwood's time, perhaps to hide this cell divine, where lay my love in peace sublime. When Churchill turned against the club in Wilkes' quarrel, he wrote a poem with lines in it that seemed to give the same hint. Under the temple lay a cave made of some guilty coward slave, whose actions feared rebuked amaze of intricate and winding ways, not to be found without a clue, one passage only, known to few, in paths direct led to a cell, where fraud in secret loved to dwell. With all her tools and slaves about her, nor fear should honesty rout her. Membership was open to intelligent and courageous men of any class of society that wished to leave their mark on the world. Most of the members became very wealthy and contributed to positive change in the world. In 1721, the Hellfire Club was forced underground when a law was passed against activities deemed as against horrid impieties that were not to take place upon English soil. So Dashwood then had the caves constructed under English soil, 300 feet beneath his Medham Abbey and its grounds. The construction of the caves occurred during the time of high local unemployment and industrial revolution. They provided a source of income for the local township, and the chalk that was removed from the cave was used to improve the local roads, thus allowing the local economy to begin to boom as trade opened up due to the quality of the road. The caves were a maze of catacombs with secret tunnels connecting them to a nearby church, serving as more than just a meeting place. They contained hidden rooms, mystical sculptures, and enigmatic riddles.
Paul Whitehead was a minor poet and steward of the Hellfire Club. His job was to keep a record of the wine and drink consumed at Medham Abbey by the brothers. Whitehead died in 1774, leaving this rather odd bequest.
I bequeath to Sir Francis Dashwood my heart, together with £50, to be laid out in the purchase of a marble urn, in which I desire it may be deposited and placed in some corner of his mausoleum, as a memorial of its warm attachment to the noble founder.
On August 13th, 1775, Whitehead's wishes were duly fulfilled. Sir Francis led a large procession up the hill, followed by a company of the Bucks militia, a choir, and a band with fifes, flutes, horns, and a muffled drum. The urn was carried on a litter by 6 grenadiers. The procession went 3 times round the inside of the mausoleum to the music of Saul's funeral march. The urn, which you see here, was then placed in a niche, whereupon the soldiers fired a triple salute. Accompanied by repeated salvos from the cannons on the frigate on the lake. For years afterwards, Whitehead's ghost was seen flitting about the place. It's certainly rather creepy down here, isn't it?
The church, angered by this evasion, labelled the group the Hellfire Club and accused its members of participating in activities contrary to church law. Rumours and speculation about the club were rampant, overshadowing its actual accomplishments. Despite this, the club was groundbreaking in its admission of women as equal members, attracting women from diverse backgrounds and advocating unity over class divisions. However, the female participants did feel the need to protect themselves and often assumed aliases and wore costumes to conceal their identities. In stark contrast to this church propaganda, the Arch of Apollo at Sir Francis Dashwood's West Wickham home features the letters LAQS. These letters represent the first letters of a Latin sentence meaning sacred to liberty and friendship, which is one of the mottos of the original inner circle of the Hellfire Club. The sacred is to be found within the inner self. Freedom and liberty are closely connected to the truth. 2 members, John Wilkes and Thomas Potter, wrote the Essay on Women, which contributed to the suffragette movement and led to women gaining the right to own property and vote. The club's members also made significant contributions to poetry, science, astronomy, chemistry, esoteric knowledge, exploration, electricity, gender equality, and the abolition of slavery, revolutionizing Western society. However, the church attributed the club's success to devil worship and the fulfillment of diabolical wishes. The members seem to have invoked ancient Greek deity and Hermetic spirits. Statues of Diana, Hercules, Venus and Dionysus remain in the central meeting hall to this day. Several of their members were governors in India, so it is possible that the members may have practiced a form of Dionysian Tantra that honoured all women as the embodiment of the goddess. Another club motto was Fici tu devodas, do what thou wilt, a philosophy associated with Francois Rabelais in his fictional work The Abbey at Felamy, and later used by Aleister Crowley. However, all sexually liberating practices were outlawed by the church and state. Members could not practice these deeply held beliefs of sexual equality and social liberation in the open because of the social context of the time. It was the time of the French Revolution and the American War of Independence was brewing, so any talk of liberty was frightening to the authorities. Surviving writings and petitions in Parliament by the members show that the Hellfire Club members took an active part in trying to broker peaceful transitions rather than the bloodshed. But politics can get taken out of context just as easily as personal belief systems. This was yet another reason that the group had to be extremely discreet and operate literally underground. The term underground is still used today to refer to any group that meets in secret. The group was labelled Hellfire Club by the church in an attempt to discredit them. However, this only increased their mystique, a mystique that endures to this very day. Its fame resulted in a flood of membership applications. Many chapters of the society opened up through Europe, laying the foundation for several magical and mystical orders. The famous Hellfire relics in Montpellier Island are from a chapter of this organisation. It should be remembered, however, that the membership was majority very powerful and very influential men that the church was unwilling to prosecute. Where the church repressed society, the club fostered creativity, exploration, science and artistic works. So the church's final official stance on the Hellfire Club was to ignore the monster that they had helped create and hope it went away. In a way, it did. After Dashwood's death, for many years the Hellfire Caves fell into disrepair and disuse, and only recently have been restored so that the public can walk through these caves where so many remarkable men have walked before them. The Phoenix Society. In 1781, after Dashwood's death, his nephew Joseph Alderson founded the Phoenix Society, or the Phoenix Common Room, in Brasenose College, Oxford. The phoenix was a symbol rising from the ashes of the early institution, and it has stuck to its predecessors' tenets. Its motto, Uno avulsa non deficit alter, when one is torn away, another succeeds, is from the 6th book of Virgil's Aeneid and refers to establishing the continuity of the society, just as Aeneas ensured the continuation of all that was good from Troy into Rome. The Phoenix Common Room's continuous history until the present day is a matter of great pride to the college. To say that the Hellfire Club was just a bunch of libertines is so disrespectful. They moved towards improving the planet on so many levels, throwing off the control of the church and of the government. They even worked towards American independence and a non-bloodshed form of the French Revolution. Here is just one example. When relations between the colonies and the home government deteriorated, Benjamin Franklin endeavoured to bring about a reconciliation. In 1770, he, together with Francis Dashwood, drew up a plan of reconciliation as an attempt to find a basis for compromise which might avert any open conflict towards independence. The plan failed to gain acceptance. Thus, on March 20th, 1775, Franklin sailed for America where, as a member for the Second Congressional Continental Congress, he became committed to the struggle for independence. During the American War of Independence, Franklin was an advisor to George Washington, and following independence was a member of the committee appointed to draft the Declaration of Independence. In 1776, Congress appointed Franklin as one of 3 to negotiate a treaty of aid with France. For the next 10 years, he performed a service perhaps second only to that of Washington in achieving independence and bringing into being the United States of America. Early in 1778, a treaty of alliance was signed with France. This brought recognition, financial and military support to the newly constituted nation. Then, in 1781, Franklin negotiated peace with Great Britain. The final treaty was signed in 1783. To him, there was never a good war nor a bad peace. A few months later, Benjamin Franklin asked Congress for his recall, but it took nearly 2 more years before he could relinquish his duties and return to America. During the last 5 years of his life, Franklin lived with his daughter in Philadelphia. His last public act was to sign a memorial to Congress dated February 12, 1790, asking for the abolition of slavery, as did many members of the Hellfire Club. He died in Philadelphia on April 17, 1790, having lived to see the inauguration of the government to whose birth he had contributed so much, as had so many of the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Caves has the reputation of being one of the most haunted places in Britain. But it's not just the ghosts that haunt there. Spirit of divine beings has been invoked and their strong energies can be felt. It is common for people to report encounters with 2 spirits in the caves. One is of Paul Whitehead, born 1710 and died in 1747 at the age of 64. There are many people who may have had reason to haunt the caves, but none more so than Paul Whitehead, steward of the Hellfire Club. On his death, he left £50, quite a sum in those days, to Sir Francis Dashwood for the purpose of his burial, to purchase an urn to be deposited in the Dashwood Mausoleum, so that his heart could be placed inside and remain with the Dashwoods forever. In 1829, an Australian soldier stole the heart and the urn was then placed in the caves for safekeeping. Paul Whitehead's ghost is reported to be seen to haunt the caves in search for his heart. The other ghost that is frequently seen is Suki, the White Lady. This is a tragic tale of jealousy and revenge resulting in their death of an innocent girl. The tradition holds that Suki was a servant girl in the 19th century who worked at the George and Dragon, a tavern in the West Wickham village. She rejected the advances of 3 local boys as she had set her sights on becoming the bride of the aristocrat. Many aristocratic members of the Hellfire Club did marry for love, as their belief system threw away the ideas of class and station. One day, a wealthy young man paid a visit to the inn, and Suki, seeing him as a prospective bridegroom, she set about ensnaring him, and indeed he did become infatuated with her. This angered the local boys, who hatched a plan to teach her a lesson. They sent her a letter purported to be from her suitor, informing her that he wished to elope with her that night, and asked her to meet him in the caves in her wedding gown. She arrived at the caves only to find 3 spurned lads. It was then that the prank turned to tragedy. Stones were thrown at her in temper, knocking her unconscious, and she later died of concussion. An apparition of the broken-hearted lady in white can be seen within the caves, searching for her lost love.
Shh! This river is called the River Styx, after the legendary river which separated this world from the underworld. 200 years ago, a boat took their crossing to the inner temple. No one knows what was like on there. Most of the members of the club were busy and distracted lives. The Francis was an active politician for 36 years, becoming Chancellor of the Exchequer in 1762, and then Postmaster General. In 1772, with the help of Benjamin Franklin, he produced a new cell for the presidency. Its purpose was to prevent the old and faithful from freezing to death from long term on cold places. To make the village so short as to attract always young and light, and to relieve the well-lit focus from the infliction of indiscriminate bread. The parable was not a success in England. Since Franklin took it to America, they were used to go up to the 50th and Paris. The part of the beautiful mission was one architectural work for the business, when he went on building temples and including the landscape, right up until his death in 1781. Anyhow, this is the end of my story, and I do really enjoy it. Walking the end of the cave, you might get a thought on the way out, or you might have to spend the night there.
So after going to the Hellfire Caves and learning about the Hellfire Club for myself, here is my takeaway. It is such a shame to see these caves being used for fright nights, instead of being used as a memorial to what these remarkable men achieved. Even if you look at just the achievements of the 13 core members, they helped abolish slavery, they brought in women's rights, they did away with the class system, they liberated countries, they tried to stop bloodshed in different countries. They created a remarkable amount of change in this world. They ended the Dark Ages and they started the Age of Enlightenment, and all of this from a magical working group that knew how to invoke the energies, the intelligences that were around during the Greek period of the Golden Age. This is remarkable. These people were inspired by the muse, and yet anybody that speaks about or does a review about them, all they want to talk about is the fact that maybe they had mistresses, maybe they had an orgy, things that wouldn't even raise an eyebrow these days. These were political men. These were men with wealth who used their magical ability, their wealth and their knowledge to make the world a better place. Why don't we remember them for that? If I could have one wish after going to the Hellfire Caves, that is that each one of you would understand how these men used and harnessed those energies in order to make the world a better place. Because if you can understand that, you can make your own world a better place. And it's all hinged around understanding Mithras and Dionysus. There used to be a Mithras temple associated with this spot. This ancient pagan temple had a hidden catacomb that was underneath it. And all they did was extend these catacombs. And by extending these catacombs, they extended the energies. And by working with these energies, they abolished the Dark Ages. And with the Hellfire Club, they set the world on fire and lit up the Age of Enlightenment. If only we could all do this. Remember these men for what they did, not the rumors about them. Every blessing. Look forward to seeing you in future videos where I will discuss what these men achieved in only 30 years with the aid of magical energies. We may discuss their working methods, what they worked with, the spirits that they invoked as well. Please let me know in the comments below what aspects of the Hellfire Club you would like to see discussed in future videos. Again, every blessing to you all, and I hope that we could learn to be half as empowered as the members of the Hellfire Club were. If you have enjoyed this video and you like the idea of making magic readily available to people in their lives for free, then perhaps you may consider supporting my work by a one-time donation or becoming a member of our Patreon community. Your support will make it possible for me to do more of this work and get that knowledge out to the public. Our Patreon members have a unique community where they can share their knowledge and wisdom, but also we will have exclusive content over there for you as well. But if you're even considering supporting us, you have my deepest and sincerest thanks. Every blessing to you.